Hi, this is Dr. Hammerschlag. Welcome to this week's Schlagbyte for December 3rd, 2007, entitled Ending the War Inside. I recently wrote about an Army report in a Schlagbyte back in October that revealed 20% of regular Army soldiers and as many as 40% of reservists serving in Iraq and Afghanistan suffer from mental distress when they return home. And many of those who suffer do not seek help until they become truly functionally disabled. Last week, I read about Brad Gaskins in the New York Times, a story about a 25-year-old Army sergeant who served 2 combat tours in Iraq. When the nightmares and anxiety became overwhelming, he went AWOL and hasn't returned since August 2006. Sergeant Gaskins was his high school's starting quarterback. He enlisted in the Army when he was 17 because he wanted to improve his life, to have a career, help his family, and serve his country. He was, by all descriptions, a good, tough, talented soldier, but the war etched away at his spirit. Sergeant Gaskins was reluctant to share his distress for fear that his superiors would label him weak, or worse, crazy. But during his second deployment, he came home for a 2-week leave, and he did seek help for his problems. He was evaluated, given drugs for depression and insomnia, but was given no psychotherapy or follow-up care. He returned to his military base where the tanks and marching soldiers and gunfire became unbearable, so he walked away, back to his wife and newborn son. He became reclusive, locked himself in a dark room, trembled when he saw images from Iraq on the evening news. He yelled at his 2-year-old son for no apparent reason, and once put a knife to his wife's throat, as if he didn't know who she was. These are all clinical manifestations of PTSD, the post-traumatic stress disorder. A couple of months ago, Sergeant Gaskins approached a veterans advocacy group, Citizen Soldier, and asked for advice. They encouraged him to get a psychological evaluation and to turn himself in, saying that he could not hide forever. And last week, Sergeant Brad Gaskins turned himself in. He said, "I'm not a deserter. I served my country, and now I need help. I just want it all to go away and get my life back." Sergeant Gaskins has been hospitalized. He could be discharged from the Army for medical reasons and declared disabled. He could be court-martialed, for which he could land in prison and prevent him from receiving veterans benefits. I'm hoping the Army will treat him and not punish him. We have got to stop waiting until our veterans end up in psych wards before we help them. We must come together as communities and ceremonially welcome home our soldiers, honor them as returning warriors. We need proactively to reintegrate them by mobilizing our resources as communities to reach out, to help them to cope, to learn, to do, to explore what they want to be doing from now on. We must get away from a mental illness model that focuses on disability and drugs and move toward a community-based prevention model that focuses on somebody's strengths and helps them to end the wars inside. That's what I'm thinking this week. Let me know what you're thinking on the Healing Cafe discussion forum. For those of you interested in a unique workshop intensive with my friend and brother Brad Keeney, a psychologist who has spent many years with Kalahari Bushmen, I will be doing a weekend intensive entitled The Dancing Healers, in which we'll talk about the many ways there are to intensify one's healing power. Have a great week. Stay connected. Remember, nobody makes it alone. I say this for all my relations. Mitakwi Hasi.